Hi, good evening. Today's episode we're going to be dealing with two set of words that have the same pronunciation, almost similar pronunciation and very similar meaning. The meanings are very blurry. So let's take, and even the word origin is quite similar. They evolved from each other. They had a similar parent word. So let's see the four words that we're going to see today. The first word is this. This is something we all know, to break something into pieces, like to break the door, or there's also another meaning to it, like let's have a tea break, let's have a coffee break. There's a break in between your schedule and your timetable. So it's also called break, that's also called break. So this has this pronunciation break, which is very simple, just one syllable. What we often mistake it for is this. This is a physical brake used in a vehicle like a car or a train or anything that is used to stop a vehicle or slow down a vehicle. So the physical brake used to slow down a vehicle or stop the vehicle is spelt with this spelling, B-R-A-K-E. This is what most of us confuse with. They don't realize that there's another spelling, there's another word with the spelling and the same pronunciation. There's also another meaning to this word. That is the tool that is used to break shells or something that's hard like a walnut shell, or there's a seafood that's cooked with the shell, and a tool with ridges on it, with tooth-like ridges on it, are used to break open the shells. So even that is called a break. So a tool used to break the shell is also called break. So these two words have very similar word origin. The first word that evolved was this, from the old Germanic language, which meant brechen, and then internally there were a lot of changes. Germanic language actually gave birth to several of the European languages like German, English, Dutch, and several other languages. So what happened is, from this parent word brechen, all the other languages adopted it, and there were several changes in each language, and then it came back to English with a different version, because English evolved much later. So it came with a different spelling. So this is how it came. The first spelling was this, and then with internal changes inside English, this word evolved. The next word, break, evolved. So this is a pattern, if you notice, even for the next set of words that we're going to see. The next word we're going to see is this. This is very simple, something which we use very often. It's pronounced loose. The S is pronounced as S. This S is pronounced as S, so it's loose. And something that this refers to the word that does not have attachments and which is free, like your clothes could be loose or your hair could be loose. So and there's also a term that we used in Indian English called to refer to someone who's crazy as loose. Loose is that is with this spelling, because it meant to refer to a person who's nuts, imagining him to be a robot, whose nuts are loose. So loose also refers to something that is not fixed properly. So that is with this pronunciation, loose, and with this spelling. So it also, in Indian English, it also refers to a person who's crazy. And there's another word with the same similar pronunciation, which is this. This is often confused with the other one. These two are often confused. This is pronounced with the sound z, not s, lose. Lose has two different meanings. One is the opposite of find. So you lose something, like you let it go, or you just waste something, you destroy something, or you can't find something. So that is lose. And the other one is the opposite of win. You've lost a match. So it's a past tense. Lost is the past tense of lose, and it's the opposite of win. So try not to lose the match is this with this spelling. Try not to lose heart is with this spelling. So don't lose heart refers to, keep your heart strong, keep it to yourself, don't lose it. So that is what is when you say that, when you refer to that, it's spelled with this and it's pronounced as lose, and lose with a z. When you say let yourself loose, let your heart loose, which is let it free, let it free without any attachments, without any bonds, then that is spelled with double O and pronounced with s, loose. Let your heart loose. When you say don't lose heart, it's this. Don't lose heart. It's with this. So that's about today's video. And of course, when you see the word origin, it's again from the old Germanic language, where the word LOS evolved from the old Germanic language, and there were a lot of internal changes within English. This was the first word that evolved. This was the first meaning to refer to free from boundaries. And then there were two different words that evolved with two different spellings. LOS from the old Germanic language had evolved into two different words with two different, slightly different meanings, which is one is free from boundaries and the other one is to let it destroy or waste or unable to find. So these two words evolved, these two meanings and with these two spellings evolved from the same parent word, like the word break. So today we saw two sets of words, basically four words, and how they have almost very similar meaning and very similar pronunciations, and how they have evolved from the same parent word. So if you have something like this in mind and you want me to deal in detail, do let me know in the comments section. There's one tip that I always encourage my students to do is to just read your newspapers aloud, at least for just at least the headlines, and at least for say 2 minutes a day, because it helps you find out whether you're able to pronounce the word that you're reading. That is a problem we all face. India is a country with a lot of avid readers, especially newspapers. We read a lot. We are encouraged to read a lot. I know reading the newspaper is almost like drinking the coffee. It's synonymous to drinking the coffee at several households, especially in Tamil Nadu. And what we fail to do is read at least, like say, a passage, a paragraph aloud, because we end up not knowing how to pronounce it. So only when you start reading that aloud, you realize that you don't know how to pronounce a lot of words. You might know the meaning because you generally tend to conclude the meaning with the context. But today, of course, we have an advantage of television news, which gives you a good model for pronunciation. Not always, but a fairly better model for pronunciation, unlike the previous years. I know I used to read a lot of books, and there were a lot of words that when I actually say aloud, it would be completely different. Like one word is adolescent. I used to have a very crazy pronunciation, and there was another word called T-O-M-E, and I used to say tomb, because I know Tom, and I used to say Tom. But it's actually when I went and mingled, when I went to college, and I said, what is a Tom doing there? And it's like, who's Tom? I said, no, it's not Tom, it's Tom. And it's like, no, that's a tomb. So only when you start saying these words aloud, you will realize that you are making a mistake. So when you realize you're making a mistake, you can either check the dictionary for yourself, or you can leave me a comment so that I can deal with it in the following videos on how to pronounce it right. Pronunciation is one of the key elements to sound like a native speaker and to give you more confidence. What I generally avoid doing is giving a detailed stress structure to my students, because when you want to sound internationally intelligible, or that is internationally understandable, the stress structures are not really important. But what is important is to have a clear breakage of the syllables and how to actually pronounce them. So do let me know in the comment section, give me feedback. I'm trying different new methods, and I'm taking all the feedback seriously and trying to incorporate in every single video that I do. And if there's anything more, I'm sure there is, do let me know in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share, and keep commenting. Spread the word. Happy exchanging.